Hello, my name is Diana Rodriguez. I'm going to share my slides right now, and I'm really excited for this opportunity to share some knowledge with you. And the name of my talk is Smile, the Web is Your Photo Booth. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Diana Rodriguez, and I'm a Python developer advocate at Vonage. You can find me on Twitter, Katufa82, and my website, superdie.dev. I'm also a Google Developer Expert, Auth0 Ambassador, and Microsoft MVP. Since we know who am I would like to remind you all of who am I not. I'm not the Oracle. That means I don't know all the answers. And after 20 years in this industry, I feel like we're at the point where, we learn something new every day. But let's get to our application and what we're going to be building with Python and Vue.js. So what does it do? It's a photo booth, right? So we have to capture a stream from a webcam. We also need a snap pic button with a countdown, a 5-second countdown. It has auto mode, so when it detects a smile, it will snap a picture. A drawer for captures, where we're going to put our pictures once we snap them. A click to download button, and an SMS sharing capability. And the tools we're going to use, of course, Flask, because for me, Flask is very special. I love Python and I love Flask. We're going to be using the Vonage video and communications APIs for capturing the stream and the screen. And for the SMS, we're going to use Azure App Service and Azure Cognitive Services. Excuse me. I'm going to be using JavaScript for the front end with Vue.js. So this for me is the perfect combination. But I think it's time to talk about the code. And this app was very friendly and very nice to develop. So to implement this project, we use Vue for the front end, and on the back end, we use Flask. The strategy is to create a static version using Vue.js, and then we're going to read that static build from our Flask server. So in here, we can appreciate that we're creating a Vue.js instance that we're going to use to render our templates. And we're using Beautify as our graphic plugin. Then we have all the variables of our application. The reason why I chose to do this on the Vue side is because the variables that are defined in the data section, in the case of Vue.js, have the characteristic of being reactive. So anything we make, any changes we make is going to be in that section is going to be reflected in the template automatically. So the medullary point, the most important part is our camera. And we have to capture, obviously, everything from the camera. So we're going to have a video div with a publisher, which is what you see right now. And here we're going to insert the video stream. And this is by initializing OpenTalk. And let's see, there's a method called Initialize Session. This is still on the client side, on the front end. So once we initialize all the data using the session ID and tokens, this will have the browser to ask for permission. And then when we allow it, it's going to show our cam, and then we can capture the stream. We'll need take a snap picture. So we'll need a button, and once we click on that button, then we're going to execute a method called Analyze, and it's going to detect the emotion in the users. So this is to detect if someone has smiled or not, and if not, it will return an error message. And this is a very extensive and interesting method. So in short words, we're basically capturing a frame from the stream using the publisher. Then we convert those to blob, and then we send those through an AJAX petition to the face API, and then we have to analyze if there's a response, there's an emotion. If happiness is detected, it's a float between 0 and 1. So if it's 0.5, which means there's a probability that there's a smile, it's enough for us. If not, then it will return an error message. And this is the method. Then in the control panel, we have to download the images, and then we also have to send SMS. The download images button executes a method called download images. And it basically will go through each of the images, and it will apply a method called force file download that creates a link to the image without inserting it in the DOM, and then it will execute a click from JavaScript to force that that download. On the Python side, which is my most favorite side, we had to do a very special configuration. And don't worry about this wall of code. I just love showing my work. So we need a directory for our snaps to be stored to be able to share them. So the main function of this script is to serve the front end, to serve the static build of Vue. And we're also creating an endpoint where where we can send the SMS, we can send the images. In this case, to make it even easier, we're going to send the direct link to that image. So here we're basically defining the Nexmo client for our SMS, and we have to verify if the snaps directory exists, if not, we create it and then we make it public, and that's where we're going to store our pictures. Then we take from our static build, and then we have to send the messages. So what this does is to move the image to the snaps directory with an auto-generated name and send the text message to the user using the link of the image that we just generated. And one thing I love about Flask is the simplicity of the code, the fact that it is readable, and the right decorators make it really understandable. So I am a big fan of Flask. Then this is the body of the message. And in case of having any errors from the Vue side, when you click on the send SMS button, two things will happen. The value of the variable Nexmo dialog will change its value to true, showing that the message is being sent. This is where we're going to input the phone number to where we're going to send the messages, and we're going to select the image that we want to send. And then the second action is the method getStripImage, which consists on applying filters. And if we apply the filters, then all the images will get concatenated, and it will basically make it as a strip, like a photo booth. And then from there we have the send button, and if the method didn't fail, if everything went okay, the sendMS method will execute an AJAX petition to the endpoint we created, and then that's how it goes. This is basically the body of the message, and then that's it. Then it's time for my favorite part, deployment, setting everything on fire. So for this, I decided to use Azure App Service because it's much friendlier. We're basically configuring to deploy from a Docker container. You will see the repo. I'm using Docker Hub for my containers, so it's much easier to do it. This is what I used, this container, and then just include the details, the repository name, etc., the repository, the container name, etc. As you can see, my username and password, and it will pull the image with whatever tag I specify. In this case, this one. And in a few clicks, the deployment is on its way. And I'm sure you want to see a demo. So go to opentalk-nexmo.azurewebsites.net. And you can also find the GitHub repository. It's GitHub OpenTalk community /OpenTalk-photo booth. I have to say that this was an amazing experience building it, and the idea with this is to show you that we can have the best of both worlds, the best of front-end development with whatever framework of choice, the best of Python using Flask as a backend. We can also use Flask as our full-fledged server, deploying front-end and our backend capabilities, and then adding the deployment side with Docker containers and that little bit of the DevOps infrastructure side of the operation. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed sharing this with you very briefly. Again, you can find me on Twitter at Katufa82. My website is superdie.dev, and that's the slides URL, so you can check them out. Make sure you check the repository, and I will go back to this slide again. Make sure you check the repository. There are two branches, one where I'm doing the same thing with JavaScript, then the one where I'm using Flask for this beautiful application. I hope you have an amazing time, and it was great to share this with you. Stay safe.